I'm going to start my story. Back in 2008, I was sitting on the tube and I was reading this book called The Nudge, which is about psychology of influence. And there's a really interesting chapter that I was going through, and it was about the concept of social proofing. Social proofing is essentially saying that we as humans tend to follow the crowd. That you can influence someone if you tell them that everyone else is doing it. There's a brilliant case study that I was reading about called Don't Mess with Texas. How we got people in Texas to litter less and recycle more by saying more Texans are recycling and littering less. And there's also a nice fine. And just as I was reading this case study, I looked up in the most expensive place to advertise in the whole of the UK. I saw this from the Mayor of London. 72% of Londoners still do not recycle. Time to make a change. Now, can all of you see a problem with that? It's actually having the opposite effect. If you don't recycle, you think, well, no one else is doing it. Why should I bother? So I got quite outraged. I thought, hold on a second, I've got a case study here, yet these well-paid marketing professionals that work for the Mayor of London spent an obscene amount of money to put an advertisement up, which is against all the evidence if they actually bothered looking at it. I mean, if I were writing, I'd put something like this: more Londoners than everyone else recycling, are you one of them? So at that moment I decided I'm going to set up Fountain. I'm going to set up a marketing agency that actually looks at evidence, gets case studies, and does marketing properly. Because around that time I was speaking to a lot of business owners, and all of them were telling me they'd all burnt money in marketing. I mean, by show of hands, who here's lost money in marketing? Yeah, I wanted to create an agency that looked to eliminate that. And I built on a very simple premise: return on investment. Whatever you give us, we'll strive to get you back fivefold, tenfold. And it was risky because we'd live or die on our results. We ended up living. Because I use a very simple three-step approach to marketing. I'll put together a strategy for you. So you come to me, I'll put together a strategy. I'll look at what your competitors who are doing really well in your sector, how they're doing it. I'll add it with the most cutting-edge techniques in marketing. But before we chuck loads of money at this strategy, I'll be able to say, you know what, I might be wrong. What we need is some evidence. So we do a trial period where we get a proof of concept. So we take it to market, but we'll dip our toes in the water, try to spend as little amount as possible to gain evidence as to how it works for you, your business, your brand. Once we've got evidence of what works and what doesn't, we can actually then create a plan for growth. A lot of agencies just say, I've got a cool strategy, it's my things that I like doing, which would be SEO, pay-per-click, I like using the yellow pages. Give me this money, and I'll chuck it at the wall and we'll see what sticks. That's not a good use of people's money. I try and treat it like my own. I tell my staff that, to think about it as if it were your business. How would you do it? And that's how we've grown. We started off 2008, just Rebecca and I. Robert and Laura came on a year later, and we've grown. There's some of us there in our offices in the city centre. There's now 14 of us, and we've grown over the last five and a half years by getting results. The secret to our success really is lasting relationships. The very first client we won that paid us £800 a month to do their marketing, we still have today. And that's how we've grown the business. We keep getting retainers. As long as we're getting a good return on investment for our clients, we keep growing that way, and that's how we've done it. You're probably wondering, well, what on earth do you actually do? This all sounds really great, Marcus, but what do you actually do? Show me. And this became very apparent because this is not what I do. It's what lots of lovely people at BNI did for me. This is a cabinet in the garden where I spent last night, actually. I've got a three-week-old baby, so that's the reason why. But 3 months ago, I had Paul Wells around my house. He was quoting up for the job, and he said, I'll be honest with you, Marcus, I don't really know what you do. It's not clear in your 45 seconds at all. So I thought, right, okay, well, I've got a 10-minute talk at some point to make it abundantly clear what I do. So I'm going to use you, Paul, as an example, if you don't mind, to explain what I might do for someone like you. So Paul wants more inquiries, even more than BNI can ever give him. So he comes to me and says, can you put together a strategy? So my first port of call is generally Google AdWords. But before I take any money off Paul, I want to make sure there are people going onto Google looking for Paul's services. So I use something which is called the keyword tool. So I've done a bit of research here. I've put in words such as carpenter Norwich, carpenters in Norwich. And you can see, on average, each month in the UK, there's 50 people a month looking for the word carpenter Norwich, putting it into Google. So we've got 4 search terms there. If you add up how many people a month on average are looking for them, you've got 160 people a month looking for carpentry services in Norwich. That's 5 a day. But if Paul's not on the top page of Google, they're not going to find it. What's really fun about this tool, and I encourage you all to use it, it's called the Keyword Planner. You can go on and you can put anything in there. So if you ever wondered how often Victor Lee Googles himself,
is that a day? That's an hour. That's an hour.
That's an hour, yeah. That's a month. So that's once every 3 days. I'm surprised. I thought it'd be higher.
That's the way the computers crash.
But what does Paul actually look for? In addition to referrals, he looks for ladies. So I thought, this is a bit disturbing, I'm going to share it with you. I thought I'd see how many people in Norwich are looking for ladies on Google. 110 a month. Could be all be you, Paul, I don't know. When you're not
They are me, they're all me.
All joking aside, this is what I find fascinating about marketing, that we actually have raw market data. We can see what people are putting into Google, and we can make it very beneficial for our clients. So what we'll do is we'll run some ads for Paul. We'll stick it at the top of here for Carpenters Norwich. Costs about £1 a click, so £1 to get someone to a website. But we have a problem. Paul doesn't have a website. Now we can go and see Chris at Net Matters and get a website. We want to get a bit of evidence first. So what you can do is you can use software that Simon uses called Unbound, just to create a single page, single web page, and we can just put your photos on there, your telephone number, a bit of information about you, and we can start sending people to it. But let's just say for a second that we send 100 people to Paul's website. And this is the second thing that we do. In addition to sending people to the website, we get more people picking up the phone. So say we send 100 people to Paul's website, at £1 a click, that costs £100. But Paul only gets one telephone call. This is called a 1% conversion rate, and all it is basically £100 a lead. So Paul's given me 100 quid, and I delivered in one telephone call. That's a bit rubbish, to be honest. What I'd ideally like to get is a 10% conversion rate. I want 1 in 10 people who come to Paul's landing page, or his website, picking up the phone and calling Paul. So what we do is we do something called conversion rate optimization. And how do we do it? How do I get 1 in 10 people? Well, once again, I need evidence. So I could say, well, we could try changing the colour on the web page or a bigger picture, but I don't really know, that's just my opinion. What if we could actually see what people were doing? Well, we can. There's some wonderful software called Session Cam that actually films people using your website, not them physically, but their mouse movements. And all the big boys are using it. So if you were to go onto Aviva now, there'd be someone in an internet marketing company like ours watching where you're clicking, watching you typing stuff in, and just learning how you're interacting with the website and constantly looking at ways to improve it. Because as a marketing person, I want to squeeze more and more people. We tie this up with stats from analytics, and we'll make changes and we'll keep testing it until I can get 1 in 10 people, a web design that has 1 in 10 people picking up the phone to Paul. And once we've got that, once we've proven that we've got this website that works for Paul, works for people in Norwich looking for its services, then we can turn the tap on. That's stage 3 of growth. And we can start sending people from Bing, Facebook, LinkedIn, YouTube. We can all do it regionally, so it's only local people, and we can really turn the tap on with Paul's ambitions, really. Depends how much he wants to grow, how many inquiries he wants. And the plan is over time is to increase the number of customers Paul gets, whilst decreasing the cost per acquisition. This isn't a direct pitch to you, Paul, don't worry, I'm not.
Hey, you're
it's just a good way of
pitch.
explaining it, because I thought, if I can get you to understand it.
I told him I didn't understand any of this. So he explains it clearly, we'll all understand what he does.
Exactly. No, Paul did say to me, look, you've got a 10-minute presentation, take us through it clearly, because actually my 45 seconds don't do it justice. Final page, my ideal referral. Any questions?
Great work, fantastic.